Hi guys, it's Laura from Travel and Teach Online FAQ, and in today's video I'll be talking about how to travel and teach online. In this video I'll cover things like what to think about before you leave, what to take, what you should do when you first arrive in a new location, and what to do in case of internet emergencies. So, in my particular experience, I have been teaching online for about a year and I've been travelling for about 6 months of them. I travelled through Eastern Europe and I stayed in the same city for about a month or so at a time. This gave me plenty of time to explore and see everything and travel a bit further within that country. First of all, in my situation, I started travelling with zero savings, and this was my only form of income. So it was really important for me that I had a reliable, steady income that I could afford to live off. If this is the case for you as well, I highly recommend that you give it a few weeks or a couple of months before you start travelling to build up a full schedule, to get your regular students and get that reliable income. The great thing about DaDa is that you do get half pay for standby time during your contract hours, but even so, I say give it a bit of time first just to make sure you know you're going to get the budget that you need. Now obviously if you have savings or you're going to travel really, on a shoestring, whatever it's called, that's fine, but just something to consider. You won't have a full schedule and full pay straight away, most likely. The second thing to consider is your hours. So if you haven't signed up yet, think about how many hours you need to do to live and how is that going to fit in with your travelling. So personally, like I said, my only job, no savings, I have to work full time as much as possible. This means working 5 or 6 days a week. So for me, I travelled slowly. I moved to a new city every month. This meant that I could work my 5 or 6 days a week. You only work a few hours a day. I could explore in the evening, and then at the weekend I could maybe go somewhere a bit further afield. And this worked great for me. Obviously, if you're going somewhere really cheap or you have more savings, then you can afford to travel a bit faster. If this is the case, you might want to choose less contract hours a week and maybe pick up extra hours on a weekly basis as you go. But remember that I know with DaDa in particular, you can only have so many days a month off penalty free. So definitely consider, travel times and things like this. I'm not sure how it works for other companies, but I imagine it's the same. They're not going to let you cancel lots of lessons or lots of days, so definitely it's something to take into consideration. So once you've figured all that out, it's time to start looking at accommodation, and this is one of the biggest factors when choosing somewhere to stay and where to go. So obviously we are not quite the same as other digital nomads in that we can't really work in cafes and other public spaces. We need to be staying somewhere where the internet is strong and reliable and we're in a private space. Obviously you can teach in cafes, people have taught in airports, on trains and in all sorts of places, but this isn't really ideal and it's not something you should kind of set out to do, in my opinion. It's more just an emergency situation. So yeah, it does take a little bit of effort, but it's really worth it, in my opinion, to do a bit of planning ahead when you're booking your accommodation. Whether you're booking in hotels, hostels, with Airbnb, you can always send them a message or give them a call and ask a few questions first. So personally, I stay with Airbnb. I like it because if you stay the month, you get a good discount usually, and I like my own space. So I always send the hosts a message before I book, and I try and keep it really light-hearted and friendly. I tell them a bit about me and what I do. I say how much I love the place, and I really want to stay there, but I just have a few requirements because of my job. I make sure that I ask them whether they have unlimited data, the speeds, and I ask them to do a speed test if possible. I get them to tell me if they have an Ethernet router I can plug my Ethernet cable into, and I just get them to confirm that the internet is indeed reliable. And this is great because obviously you can check beforehand. Most hosts are really good at getting back to you with either a yes or a no. Sometimes I've had hosts offer to upgrade me, sometimes for free, sometimes if I pay a little. So this is really good as well. And if the host isn't quite telling the truth, or maybe they just, I don't know, made a mistake, then this is great because you have in writing on the Airbnb website what they promised you. If it turns out that what they promised is not what you're getting, then you have some kind of backup. You can cancel Airbnb or cancel it for you. They will give you a refund and they will help you find somewhere else to stay. So yeah, getting in writing those speeds is a great idea. If you're not really sure, most companies' websites will have the speeds they require. DaDa in particular, on my contract it says 20 down and 10 up speed, but personally I think you can go with a little bit less than that. I personally wouldn't go for anything less than, let's say, maybe 15 down and 5 up. I know people have worked on like 2 down and 1 up, but I wouldn't choose that personally. So yes, this is what to consider when you're booking your accommodation. After you've hopefully found somewhere suitable, you know, that has a quiet space, that has good speeds, and somewhere you'd like to teach, the next stage is to think about what you need to take with you. Now, I don't know about other people, but I personally have loads and loads of teaching stuff, way too much stuff to bring travelling with me, so I really had to narrow it down, and I found it quite difficult. So here are some things that I would absolutely 100% recommend. The first thing is to take an Ethernet cable or a Wi-Fi booster. An Ethernet cable you can plug into your computer, plug into the router, and this just makes sure the connection is as stable as possible. If you're staying in hotels and hostels, this might not be as easy, and a Wi-Fi booster might be a better option. I'll leave links for both below. And this isn't going to make your internet faster, but it will boost the connection. So it won't make the connection that the router is capable of faster, but if you are far away from the router, then it will, improve your connection and maybe improve your speeds that way. So yes, Wi-Fi router or Ethernet cable. The next thing to consider is your lighting. Now, I was lucky, I was travelling in Europe, I was teaching in the middle of the day. My lighting situation was usually pretty good, but if you're travelling maybe in Asia or South America or North America or wherever, and it's going to be dark, you really need to think about your lighting because most places only have overhead lights and they're not really great for teaching. So I do have these little USB lights from Amazon. They're bendy, they're really small, you can fold them up, they're USB chargeable, and they clip if you choose to clip them, but they can also stand up on their own. They have 3 brightness settings, and yeah, I think they're very bright, they're really good. So only £10 and I have 2 of them. So yeah, maybe think about getting some kind of lighting. Something else to consider is your background. So I'm not sure again about other companies, but DaDa require the logo and a clean or educational background. So before I didn't have MiniCam, I took a poster with me, I had a printout of the logo and I had a world map poster. That worked fine. I have now started using MiniCam, which is awesome, and if you are thinking of travelling, or if you're not and you're teaching online, I highly recommend giving it a go if your computer is capable of using it. It's amazing for online teachers, especially if you're travelling and you don't have a lot of room in your suitcase. You can find things like flashcards on there. You can, rather than having, real animals or toys and things, you can find pictures. It's just an amazing tool, and one of the great things you can use it for is actually for your background. So rather than having a poster or ruining an Airbnb's wall by sticking things up, Kat has made these beautiful travel friendly DaDa borders, and she's also made some more general ones that other companies can use too. So these are great. If you arrange your room so you're against a white plain background, then you can just throw one of these borders up and yep, you're good to go. It's colourful, it's great to use in class, it's a bit of a warmer, you can talk about the animals and the things you can see. So yeah, definitely consider MiniCam. If not, grab a poster and some sticky tack to use. Right, so now your suitcase is packed, you've got everything you need, and you arrive in your new destination. Now hopefully you're not teaching on the day you arrive, hopefully you've got a bit of time to explore. I know that can't always be the case, but fingers crossed that's how it's worked out for you. What do you need to do when you've arrived? The first thing I do, usually before I've even taken my shoes off, is I check the internet speeds. You can go to speedtest.net to do this. I usually check them on my phone first, and if they're good, no problem, I leave it there. If they're a bit slow, then I will get my computer out, plug it into the Ethernet cable and make sure and try that and see if that's a little bit faster. And if that's okay, great, I don't worry too much about it. If there is a problem, then you can contact the host and contact Airbnb and get it sorted straight away. Like I said, if you've got it in writing what the speeds they promised you are, and if they're not what you're getting, Airbnb are happy to help you out. They'll refund you, they'll help you find a new place at a similar cost. And they're great, so get it done as soon as possible. I didn't do this once. It happened to be the place where I had a problem and it was just a bit of a nightmare. So now, before I've even taken my shoes off, I get it out of the way, get it done, and then I feel a lot more comfortable. The next thing I do, after I've unpacked and I'm a bit more settled, I will schedule an IT test. I either do this the morning of my teaching or the day before, and it's really simple to do. It takes 5 or 10 minutes. A lot of people don't do it, but you know, it's worth it in my opinion. It does say we shouldn't have a contract, and I would like to cover my back and just make sure it's done. Like I said, it takes 0 time and super simple, so why not, in my opinion. So all you have to do is go to the Teachers Centre, click schedule and IT test, and then you choose the time you want and you book it. You'll go into the classroom, they will make sure that your video and your microphone's okay, that you're not, juttering or delayed or anything like that. If you are, they can even help you. Sometimes different channels or servers are better than others. So yeah, definitely give that a go. The next thing that you should do, or that you can do if you want, is rearrange the furniture a little bit. This is obviously easier if you're in an Airbnb. In every place I stayed, I would pull out the desk and arrange it so that I had a blank wall behind me. Just make sure you change it back before you leave. So now let's talk about what to do in case of emergencies and what we can do as a backup. So maybe you've arrived somewhere and the internet isn't as promised and you can't find anywhere else to stay. Maybe you have an internet power cut, or the internet goes out. It's always a great idea to have a backup just in case things like this happen. So what I recommend doing is on the first day or first time available, pop into town and get yourself a local SIM card with plenty of data. So I was staying in places a month, so I used to get a local SIM for my phone. And yeah, most of them have really good data deals, especially when I was in Europe, and they were all really good. And yeah, pop it into your phone. If the internet goes out or it's not quite strong enough, you can just plug your phone into your computer and use 4G. This isn't really allowed according to our contract, but if it's, a decision between cancelling classes and using 4G for a few hours, then I know which I would choose. So 4G is a great option if maybe your internet goes out, or if you're having any problems. Other things to consider if you're maybe having a bit of a problem more longer term, look at co-working spaces. They often have Skype rooms or private rooms you can teach in, and also get on Facebook and go in the expat groups. So maybe 2 days before I was due to arrive in Athens, my host told me that the internet wasn't ready yet and it wouldn't be for another 5 days. So I spent some time looking at co-working spaces, and I even posted a message in one of the groups asking if they had any advice, and lots of people offered to let me stay in their office or rent their office space by the day. So these are all things that are worth trying as well. In the end, the internet ended up being fixed early, so it was fine. But yeah, co-working spaces and reaching out to expats on Facebook and Instagram, I guess, are also a good idea. Hopefully this video has made you feel a little bit more comfortable and ready to start your own teaching and travelling journey. Now, if you haven't started teaching yet and you'd like to work for DaDa, then I am happy to help you with the process. I'll leave my application link down below and you can send me a message and I will guide you through. If you have any questions about travelling or teaching online, then I am here for you. Leave a comment, send me a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.